So you had a fun weekend. You went down to the parade with your sister and nephew and
No, we didn't go to the parade.
oh, I thought you were going to go to the parade on Saturday.
No. We went, well, they went to the river dyeing, but I had a showing and then I met up with them downtown afterwards, but not for the parade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the northwest side and the south side had their parades yesterday.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was not.
Well, it was crazy down here on Saturday, all day and all night.
Yeah.
We went over across the street to Fairgrounds and met Andrea and David and Reed there at 8:30 on Saturday morning, and there were already drunk people on the streets, like crowds. And
They
then
started Friday night, huh?
yeah, and then well, they started in the morning, but they started early, and then around 9:15, they all left to go down and meet Donnie and his family down on the river at the Renaissance and like watch the dyeing of the river and all that. They did all that. I had showings and I had to catch up with them after, but we were down in the Loop. We went to Miller's Pub and they were down at Casey's Tavern on Printers Row.
Oh.
And we went to the Palmer House in the middle. But everything was busy, all the streets. And then when we came back up north, trying to get through the traffic was crazy. Again, me trying to meet up with them down there, all the traffic was backed up and there were all the trolleys of people, drinking and carrying on. And my Uber driver didn't understand what was happening and was asking me, I think he was African, and didn't know what it was, like why everybody was wearing green, then tried to explain St. Patrick's Day, and then he thought it was a religious holiday, and I'm like, no.
Definitely not.
Trying to explain it, and I'm like, it's not about St. Patrick.
There was an article in the paper because actual St. Patrick's Day is coming up on Friday, of course.
Yeah.
And it's Lent, so Catholics are not supposed to be eating meat on Fridays in Lent. And I guess a lot of but it's up to the bishop, for each region or whatever to, if he feels so inclined to grant a dispensation for St. Patrick's Day. I guess the last time St. Patrick's Day fell on a Friday was like 2016 or something like that, 2017, something like that. And the Archbishop of Chicago, the Cardinal of Chicago, Chicago's Cardinal, is not granting a dispensation for St. Patrick's Day. So everybody's a little upset about corned beef. They can't eat their corned beef and cabbage on St. Patrick's Day, which, the funny thing about that is, well, there's a couple funny things about it. The funny thing is when you go to Ireland, first of all, they're like, who, what? Mm-hmm. St. Patrick's Day, what's that?
They go to church. They go to church, yeah.
Well, and of course, how many of them?
I mean, that's the tradition, is they go to church. It is a religious holiday there, whether you participate or not.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what percentage of the population do you think that is? Maybe 2%?
Well, I don't know. In Ireland, nothing would surprise me, so I don't know. But
yeah, who knows, right? But so that's number one, and of course it's an Irish American thing. It's a heritage thing. But the other point of it is when the Irish came to America, of course they came through Ellis Island, during that time period, like most of the immigrants, and settled in the Jewish ghetto. And corned beef is not an Irish thing. It's because the Irish had moved into the Jewish ghetto and they were eating Jewish the delis. Yeah, they were going to the delis and like, this corned beef thing, this is actually really good. So again, I mean, corned beef has nothing to do with Ireland and whatnot. Yeah. But this article in the paper was talking about how some people consider their corned beef and cabbage on St. Patrick's Day practically a sacrament. So the Cardinal said that, well, if you're going to eat your corned beef and cabbage on a Friday, then you have to either do some charitable work for the poor or somehow do penance in some other fashion. I didn't realize that fasting, not eating meat on Fridays. Well, of course, it used to be. What did it used to be when I was a kid? Because I was raised
It was
Catholic.
every Friday before, yeah.
Oh, it used to be every Friday, not just the Fridays and Lent. Right. That's
Right.
thank you. See, you remember.
Well, I'm not Catholic, but I know that.
Yeah. I couldn't remember what it was, but anyway, I'm not Catholic anymore either. I'm a good dyed-in-the-wool Lutheran now, but actually, I'm renewing my life insurance policy, and my life insurance agent asked me if I was baptized Catholic, and I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm not practicing anymore. I'm Lutheran now. And he said that doesn't matter. If he's got some program that if you were baptized Catholic, they can he thinks he can get me a better rate on my life insurance. So
That seems illegal.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That doesn't seem ethical or legal.
Well,
We'll
what
get your discount though.
what can I say? I mean, I got nothing on that part, but but
But anyway, Saturday it was great actually seeing all the well, I didn't finish. So the traffic was backed up all day, and then we had dinner for Stump on that evening where we're at Tao, and same thing, left, it was like crowded everywhere, people on the streets. We left there after dinner, it was like rain, snowing, and so we got, even though we weren't far, we got cabs back or Ubers back. And
where did you go for dinner again?
Tao, but Dearborn in Ontario.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, it was everything was still backed up. There were lines to every single place. Like, I mean, around the corner, people were standing in the rain. There were people like half dressed in that cold, snowy rain. And then there was till 4:30 in the morning by us all here in River North, all the traffic was still backed up. All the car horns honking, people screaming on the street and hooping and hollering. By 4:30 in the morning, it was still going on. So it and all the dumpsters were full of everything. They were overflowing, and it was crazy.
Well, I mean, good.
But it was kind of nice to see everybody in town and having a good time, and like the downtown being packed, and yeah, it was kind of cool. And it was everywhere. It wasn't like one location. It was all of downtown, South Loop, the Loop, Grant Park. They even shut down Millennium Park, and they had it closed off till 4.
4 in the morning?
No, till 4 in the afternoon.
Oh.
So for the parade, I guess I don't know if they were trying to control it better or whatever. And then Donnie's family went to Navy Pier during the parade. It was packed, like the whole Streeterville, everything was packed. So it was really interesting.
That's great. Well, I think everybody's just, I mean, that's great for the city. That's terrific.
Yeah.
You know, and the downtown so needs to be revitalized after COVID, no question. But Carl and his pals went over to Chief O'Neill's over on Avondale at Addison and Elston, well, just south of Addison on Elston. Actually, one of my buyer's agent back, you know, she's the successful Redfin agent now, but she was my buyer's agent when she got started. And Chief O'Neill's was her dad's hangout. She's they had 2:30 reservations. I guess everything was just a buffet or whatever, but you had to have a reservation to even get in. And they took money, and I don't blame them for this. You had to they took money in order to make the reservation. You had to put up a credit card, and they took money. And if you did, and it was applied towards your bill, if you know when you paid.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was a way to, you know, crowd control, because I'm sure.
Well, I think a lot of them are doing that anyway now. As a matter of fact, I went to make reservations for later this week at Torchio, and even weeknights and stuff, they're charging now to make reservations.
Well, and a lot of the restaurants, if you want to sit like in a window or something, you pay extra for that, right?
Yeah. I when I made reservations for us for at Tao for Saturday night, it's $35 a person to make a reservation just on any given night. And I know a lot of them do that at the holidays, like on big nights during the holidays. We've even paid $50 or $100 a person, but that was because it was like Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve or something like that. But even just on regular any night of the year now, some of them are, yeah, $35 or more just to make a reservation per person.
I mean, I don't blame them for that. I mean, because people make a reservation and then.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And now, how far in advance are you allowed to cancel it and get your money back?
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder.
I didn't read the fine print.
Because you knew you were going, it didn't
It was
matter.
on open table. You just push the button.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, and I knew even if it's 8 people instead of 10 people, so I had to pay $350 to get that reservation. But even if it's 8 people instead of 10 people, it just gets applied to the bill, whatever it is. I don't think that matters then. We ended up being 9 instead of 10, but it doesn't really matter. But I don't know if you just went to all out cancel it, how that works. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wonder what the deadline is, but it's probably not an issue. They probably have people waiting for the table anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if you cancel it like 10 or 15 minutes ahead of time, they probably have people waiting. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess you'd have to read the fine print, right? But yeah, I know that a lot of the restaurants downtown are also starting to charge, if you want to sit in a window or something like that, you pay. And I don't think that gets applied to your bill. I think you just pay a premium to sit at that table. I don't know. Have you done that? I haven't. Yeah. Have you seen that, or haven't you? Or you haven't even bought it?
No, I mean, I know for like if you're going to sit at like a chef's table or the kitchen table or something like that, you got to do it. But I don't know about just random tables in the.
Well, no, it isn't random tables. It's if you want to sit. Yeah, like you're saying.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's not like the chef's table, or it's not the kitchen table. If you're saying it's just like in the window or something like that.
Yeah, no, but they're saying, but no, I saw this in the paper about a week or so ago that it's not like a chef's table. It's like.
No, I believe you. I'm just saying, you asked if I had seen that. I'm just saying no, other than.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they do.
Yeah. Well,
I got tickets for the movie on Friday night. We took my nephew, and they're doing it too. So not only do you book, your recliner seat or whatever ahead of time, which is fine, but when you go to the seating map now, and it would show what seats are available and which aren't, they have them color coded now because you pay like $2 extra to be in seats with good views. So yeah, and then it doesn't show that as the ticket price, but it tells you there'll be an extra $2 for each one of these seats paid at checkout. So they're doing it now too.
Wow. What movie did you see?
We saw Scream 6.
Oh, the Oscars were last night. Well, the Oscars are last night. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once totally walked away with everything. And Carl said they should come out with a sequel. Carl said they should come out with a sequel. It says one thing at a time.
He knows your sense of humor so well.
The sequel would be, instead of everything all at once, everything all at
Everywhere.
once.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Everything everywhere all at once.
All at once. He said they should do one thing at a time. Right. Anyway, whatever.
Do you remember I called you after I saw that movie, and I said, I don't know if you guys would like this or Bob would hate it or whatever, but I was like, do you remember? And I was like, I love this movie.
It was so bizarre. And Jamie.
I told you I couldn't even describe it to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis won Best Supporting Actress, which I think was so richly deserved. I mean, she was fantastic in that movie, and the hot dog fingers. So great. It was so weird. I'm gonna have to watch it again because honestly, yes, I remember thinking, wow, this is really weird, but I remember liking it, but I don't honestly remember much about what it was about, except it was about the daughter reconciling.
It was the most aptly named movie in the history of movies. It was everything, everywhere, all at once, like visually, audibly, story, everything. It was just all at once. But I thought that's why it's like hard to describe to anybody what it's even about. But I thought it was beautiful and mesmerizing and intense, but it was also like just moving, and you know, the whole like family thing was just, I thought it was really cool. And the whole just, I don't know, just, it was great. Yeah. I wouldn't have thought that it was the kind of movie that would have done that well at the Oscars, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad it did, because I don't even know how they came up with the ideas and then how they visually
I think
created
somebody
it.
was taking some heavy drugs when they wrote that
But they
script.
had to convince everybody to, you know, and they pulled in a great cast, and they pulled in, you know, A24, like all the, you know, it's like, it's amazing that they were able to get the buy-in that they did, you know, with, I don't even know what they told people it was about, you know, when they did. So, because how
It's
do you
about
even
everything
describe it?
anywhere all at once.
Yeah. And how do you know, how do you sell that? But
Yeah, right.
I thought I was really glad that they did that well, because I mean, so amazingly creative. Yeah.
But
But anyway,
I
I was,
started to tell you to finish up our conversation about St. Patrick's Day, like Carl was over at Chief O'Neill's. They had a 2:30 reservation, and at 8:30 he sent me a video from his phone. They had bagpipes. They had, you know, I guess they had live music during the day, and he was still there at 8:30 at night listening to the
there were
bagpipes.
bagpipes everywhere.
Which and there's
As a matter
another
of fact,
thing.
my sister, I told you, my sister and them met them down by it was by the Renaissance where they met them, or I think it was at the Renaissance where they met up with them. And on the way over there, Andrea called Donnie, or Donnie called them to see how far away they were. And she's like, okay, when we get there, where are you? And she said the whole time, all you could hear was bagpipes in the background. And Andrea said, well, where are you? He said, I'm by the bagpipes.
Let me think. Is the Renaissance, is that over in Illinois? Is that over there, the east side or whatever? Is that where that is? No.
No, it's State and Wacker, the Renaissance, State
Oh,
and
yeah.
Wacker.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
right in front of where they were doing the dyeing of the river. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
That's
Okay.
where Donnie's family was staying.
And
Yeah.
there's another thing that isn't Irish. Bagpipes are Scottish. But never mind.
Nobody cares. But I
Well,
know those people are Irish
I
either.
think
So
if you talk to the Scots, yeah, an actual Scot, I think they would care. They would definitely care.
so
I
is
mean, they're
Is Sunday the big protest then? The Scottish protest?
yeah, right.
Saturday is the dyeing of the river and all the festivities, and Sunday is the Scots protesting.
Yeah, no. They had the South Side and the Northwest Side parades on Sunday.
I'm just kidding. Well, you're like, the Scots would be upset. They didn't seem very upset to me.
Well, we don't know how many Scots are in this
They're
city.
probably just happy to get people to hire them to play their damn bagpipes.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Somebody, one of Carl's friends were talking about, yeah, once all these old guys, you know, who know how to play, you know, are gone, who's going to replace them? But apparently there is quite a, what am I trying to say?
There's a demand, but I'm not a demand.
There's young kids who are learning to play the bagpipes. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, he had a great time over at good old Chief O'Neill's, which seemed like a great place to hang out for St. Patrick's Day. But now what's everybody going to do?
There have been lots and lots of generations that have passed on that were the bagpipers. So I think there's always been a generation to pick it back up.
Well, and like the Irish dancers, they have that whole school over there over in Mayfair over there. They have the Irish Cultural Center where they teach the Irish dancing and all. That's a big thing. So, you know, yeah, I'm sure you're right. They probably teach bagpipes there too. So what is everybody going to do next weekend when it's actual St. Patrick's Day? But
probably just a corned beef and cabbage. I don't think there'll be much of anything.
You really don't think so? You don't think it's going to carry on next weekend too?
I don't think so. No. I mean, I think everybody got their fill.
Hope to God they did, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I don't remember it being that big before. I mean, it's always been a big thing here, but I don't remember it being that extensively big before.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
it's
I
always
think
like the certain bars and restaurants, and you know, when we were at when you came to meet us last week at Brehon's, that room normally has a big pool table in it. They already had taken the pool table out and everything to get ready for St. Patrick's Day. And that doesn't surprise me, but I'm talking every bar, every hotel, the Palmer House, for God's sakes, the lobby of the Palmer House was packed. I mean, everything.
Well, people
was
must have
packed.
come in from out of town and stayed there or something, right?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I think all the hotels were all booked up with it. Yeah.
That's great.
And
Yeah, we love Miller's
family
Pub.
had gotten the reservations like a year ago. Yeah.
We always go to Miller's Pub before we go to Chicago Symphony. So that's our go-to place. We love Miller's Pub. It's a great landmark restaurant, I would say.
Yeah. We didn't
Did
eat
you say
anything
you
there.
went there? You said you went there, right?
Yeah, that's where they were that's where they'd gotten to by the time I went to meet up with them. They were upstairs though. It's just like in a big open bar area upstairs.
Yeah. They recently renovated that, like during COVID. Miller's renovated that upstairs area, but I haven't.
Well, I couldn't really tell because I could. It was so crowded. I couldn't really see.
You couldn't get up there. Yeah.
They weren't serving anything up there. You had to go down. They weren't serving any food up there. Well, they weren't serving anything. Well, there was. Yeah, they were doing the bar up there, but if you wanted anything, you had to go downstairs to get it. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say maybe we ought to spend 30 seconds anyway talking a little bit about real estate, but
Is it good stuff?
yeah, no, I had an email from my mortgage guy that apparently the rates are the bond market's really volatile today, and the rates have come down a little bit. So he said it's time to lock in, to try if you're ready to, if you're ready to purchase something, now's a good time to lock in the rate. Yeah. Today, right? This minute, right?
Yeah, because it could be different later today or tomorrow.
Right. I mean, it sounds like it's pretty volatile, but the rates have come down, and I guess it has something to do. There was that Southside bank that failed.
You mean the Silicon Valley one? The Silicon Valley one?
Yeah, but I thought there was one in Bridgeport too. There was one in Silicon Valley, and there was one, I think, in Bridgeport.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
That failed also. So yeah, so I think that's what's got everybody in turmoil. But I've got a couple of new listings that I'm going to be bringing to market, and we're working with getting it staged and painted and whatnot. But I'm really hoping that we may be able to sell it before we get all that done. It's really shaping up to be another spring market like we had last spring. It's getting to be crazy. I've got these condo buyers looking in Lincoln Square, and anything, there were like 3 or 4 condos that came up like Thursday, Friday that they were going to hold open, and they canceled their open houses because they had it under contract.
So yeah.
And
a lot of the areas are still having like really low inventory. Yeah. And that's why somebody was asking me the other day too about the market, like how sales were. And I was like, well, it's hard to say because it's like, it seems like the sales are really good and high, but I think it's more because the inventory is so low. When something comes on, it sells, but that doesn't mean statistically it's high volume of sales. Depending on where you are and what it is, it's like,
I agree with that. I don't think there's a huge number of transactions, but it's
but a lot of the properties are selling quickly because of the inventory issue.
Yeah, and
we're being told by everybody we know that low inventory is going to persist for years, that there's no
quick fix to that. I mean, it's the demographics with the millennials coming into the market, and of course we've talked about this several times, but they weren't building during the recession, and now the millennials are home buying age, and they're the biggest bump in.
And there's population growth too, and then especially in places like Chicago too, like in the city. So,
well, even though we're losing population, but
no, not the city. The city's gained population more than they ever have since 1950. Yeah. Wow. But the suburbs have lost, the region has lost people, but the city is not. So again, it just kind of depends on where you are.
Yeah. Well, Danny Oh, what's Danny's last name? He's Irish. Danny's
O'Donoghue.
O'Donoghue. Thank you. I wanted to say O'Loughlin. We watched ACM no
AMC.
TCM, the Turner Classic Movies, TCM. That shows all the old movies. They're doing 30 Days of Oscar, and they've been showing all the best movie winners. And they showed The Sting last night, and there's that, and Paul Newman is trying to they're pulling this con on this guy, and he keeps deliberately messing up the guy's name to make him mad. So I'm doing that to die.
Sting operation.
What's that?
It's a sting operation.
Yeah, the sting operation. So I'm doing that to poor Danny O'Donoghue. I'm intentionally messing up his name anyway. Anyway, he had he was saying at the sales meeting last week that he had a listing out in Glenview. He held open. He had 50 people through the open house and 5 offers by the end of the open house.
Jeez, yeah, a lot of those North Shore areas. I've got buyers up there right now too, just waiting for it to change because they can't get anything.
Yeah, it's tough. So anyway, well, onward and upward. Everybody have a good week, and we will reconvene and see what happens with actual St. Patrick's Day next weekend.
Have a good week.
Bye.